Hello there guys, Professor Deck here, back with another Chaos Galaxy video. And today I wanted to talk about something very interesting. So in the Discord, there have been talks about a potential new ban list, uh, mainly to fix the current meta, especially with the whole recent tournaments being super Shias heavy. There have also been talks about banning certain decks, and yeah, the format just generally needs a really good ban list right now. So I wanted to share my thoughts on what should be banned, and yeah. Uh, Also, I'm recording this video on 31st, so Happy New Year to you guys. Hope you guys are having a wonderful new year, and yeah, let's get into it. So, what is the goal of a ban list? So, the goal of a ban list is to allow the game to be more fun, and all, if not most, player experiences should be good. Uh, we also want to keep the game more interesting with new iterations, ideas, metas, and just new strategies might be interesting. And we want to remove oppressive cards or interactions. For example, back in the day when we had Slush Infestation, we definitely wanted that removed because it was just so. First of all, it had very weird interactions sometimes, and second of all, it was just so oppressive, removing your opponent's zone and forcing them to pay extra for their new zones, and that was just a really oppressive card. Another interaction would have been I think Shockwave 5 at the time, so those are examples of oppressive cards. uh, but yeah, so looking at the meta, there have been a lot of 80% Shios, just 80% of the meta is just Shios. I I've seen the previous two events just be purely Shios decks and then a few other decks running around. My Shios deck was OTK, so I don't know if that counts, but it just felt so really Shios heavy, and it's basically just abusing the fact that Jokra is still unbanned and Moltown as well, and those cards are just really strong. Uh, there have also been a lot of low consistency. I can't really explain this very well, but basically a lot of the times decks tend to draw the wrong half of the combo, or the wrong half of the deck. And this was a really big issue with a lot of decks. I don't know if many of the players actually realize this, but they would usually start off the game okay, decently well, but then as they continue the game, they don't really draw into the right cards because they're at the bottom of the deck, and it just is a really bad feel bad. And I really felt bad for players who played against me as the OTK player, but were not able to draw the right cards, such as Chakra or any of the aggressive cards, just to kill the deck faster. And I just felt like that was the main issue. It wasn't an issue of uh, fighting against OTK, rather than the issue of not being able to beat it because you can't find the right card. So that's actually a consistent consistency issue rather than a deck issue. So I think some of the half ban cards have to be unbanned or something. And also a few feel bad interactions such as Jokra, or losing to OTK on turn 3 or 4. Uh, though these are usually luck based, we don't really like that happening, which is why we have ban cards. So yeah. So here's the look at the current ban list. So we have Bernard, Cosmic Treasure, Dark Space Eater, Parallel Universe. Yeah, everyone knows the ban list by now. It's just in the half ban cards, I did add the Undying Blue Flame, which was it was half banned in a single text message, so a lot of people actually skimmed through it. But yeah, Undying Blue Flame is actually half banned. And then we have the erratas, which was Lagia and United. I didn't want to expand this because, well, these are really small changes. So yeah. So moving on to what I think should be unbanned. So first of all, I want spoons to be unbanned with an errata. So I think erratas are generally okay since Chaos Galaxy is a very like it is a very online game, so changing cards isn't really a big issue, but we don't want it to go too overboard. But yeah, I think spoons definitely can be unbanned and like go into a half ban maybe. I think back when it was half banned, it felt pretty good, but the biggest issue was the fact that it killed one card, which allowed you to have access to it, sort of. Uh, so yeah, so it felt like a draw two. Uh, so yeah, I think a good fix to this card would be instead of just you can only play one creature the turn you play this card, just like put you cannot play other cards the turn you play this card. So it makes you like skip your entire turn just to keep up your consistency, but it's not like gonna be so it's not like a draw two where you're drawing one card into your hand and then the killed card like comes back because you put you have an abomination tomb or something like that. So I think this is like a pretty good way to fix this card. So yeah. If not, the other fix would be to uh, force the player to pay stars to play it, but I don't think that's good for single use resources. So yeah. So the next card would be Dark Space Eater. I actually like this card because it did allow some really cool things. But the reason why it was banned was mainly the second ability, which used to be you just so you basically kill the card, and then when your opponent played it, you get back your own and you kill everything that they have, which is super unfair. It was mainly used to like curve out the half ban cards, but it did it in a very unfair way. So I think just removing the second line of text and just having it like be like a counter spell would be much better and make it much more fair. So I think Dark Space Eater can honestly go back to completely unbanned with an errata, but just to be safe, I would put it as like half banned, just to see how it works out. So yeah. So the next card we have is Shockwave 5. So Shockwave 5 is a very interesting card because back then Krakow was a very popular strategy and a lot of players just played with it, and it didn't feel good when they just played Krakow but then got Shockwave 5. It was a really unfair thing for the opponent, but if you think about it, now Jakra is Kraka is barely played, and then we have Jakra, we have Boominator, Ficadorus, Point Phantom, Kelamask. These are the 5-star creatures that we have access, like that are mainly being played right now. And I feel like Shockwave 5 actually sort of like fixes these cards, because if you think about it, if a Shias player plays Jakra and then gets Shockwave 5, it becomes super easy. But of course, this is a very unsafe unban, I would say. So I would say like ban it in sideboards, but half ban it in decks. So he sort of like wastes a slot. But yeah, this kind of unban is very risky, I would say, just as a warning. But I think it's okay because it solves like Jakra, Ficadorus, Kelamask just being around. Especially the OTK decks. The OTK decks sort of fold to Shockwave 5, or at least won't have like extra interaction against it. So next is Relhex Mine. I think this card should never have been half banned. This card basically allowed decks to be super consistent, and it was a really good thing, and honestly is a good thing, because having a consistent deck allows you to have more fun. And yeah, it's not even like a card draw card in my opinion, it's just a card that reduces your deck size. So this card definitely can be unbanned. I don't know why it was half banned. So yeah, I think Relax Mind can definitely get out the ban list safely. So a consideration is to unban Phantom Matter, But this card is a very unsafe and risky unban because this card is really powerful and was banned because it was just free. And right now there are a lot of cards that give a lot of value no matter how they're played. So for example, Darkspark Diabolus, it just gets played out, you use this ability, and then you gain a bunch of value off that. So I think Phantom Matter right now is a really risky unban, but it does make the format a little bit faster. But yeah, like I said, super risky unban. So next we need cards to add into half ban. So there are quite a few cards here, and I'm gonna slowly go through each. So of course we need a half ban Moletown. I think Moletown is a very oppressive card right now. Simply giving you free card draw or extra power is just really good. Having that flexibility is also great as well. It makes Shia's decks feel really powerful when they really shouldn't be that powerful. And right now Shia's decks don't even like care if they like dump their entire hand because they'll just draw it back anyway with Moletown. So I think Moletown, and also the most powerful thing you can do on turn 1 is to play double Moletown. So if we just cut this by 1, first of all, it's harder to have Moletown in your starting hand, and second of all, there won't be that whole issue of double Moletown just destroying and running away with the game. So yeah, I think Moletown half ban is pretty okay. So next is a pretty interesting one. I think Upside Down Realm can go into the half ban list. It feels very weird because this is a very not so strong card, but the biggest issue with it was OTK, which gets super consistent because all the cards are not half banned. But I think Upside Down Realm being the hardest card to search in the deck in a half ban slot allows the deck to be a lot harder to play, I would say. So yeah, I think half ban Upside Down Realm is enough. OTK still is a strategy that doesn't really win tournaments, and there hasn't been a tournament winning OTK list yet. So yeah, I think Upside Down Realm can safely go into half ban, and it will nerf OTK, but it won't like completely blow it out of existence, which I don't think OTK should be, just because I really feel like it's such a bad deck and doesn't deserve it, in my opinion. Polygran, I think Polygran is sort of a card that actually is hiddenly very powerful. I don't think a lot of players realize that searching for like killing a 6-star or lower Shape Knight, which is just activating Lionel, is really powerful, together with making all your Shape Knights stronger. This is just the whole Moletown situation, but attached to one card. So if you just half ban this card, it actually fixes Shape Knights in general. But that's if we want Shape Knights to be weaker. I don't think this is a very important half ban. So this is like a not so important one, but yeah, we could just half ban it for fun to nerf the Syndian and Shios decks in general. Because if we nerf Shios, we definitely need to nerf Shape Knights. If not, it'll just be the whole same issue all over again. So yeah, Polygran could be a potential half ban. Next is Soul Shroom. I think Soul Shroom strategies right now are very strong. And the main issue is just Soul Shroom itself being like very uninteractive. As long as you have like 4 different planet creatures, which isn't actually that hard, in your killed cards, you can just free play one of them. That's just a really strong card. And there is no interaction with it because it's a single use resource. So it's not like Phantom Matter or Abomination Tomb where it like attaches to it, then brings it back, and then if you destroy the attachment, the creature just dies. Which is why I think Soul Shroom is really powerful. So yeah, I think Soul Shroom can be safely half banned. Next is Light Beam Rider. I think this is one of the strongest Indian cards. Yeah, it's just the strongest Indian card. It does a lot for its cost, which is just 3 stars. And with Lionel running around, this usually just cosplays for 3 stars anyway. So yeah, Light Beam Rider can just go into the half ban, and yeah, it's just super strong. Next are some considerations to half ban. So I was actually looking at Chakra, and I feel like Chakra has always been the main issue of Blue Flames. Like Laji was not that great. Undying is pretty powerful, but if you just half ban Chakra, suddenly like the Blue Flame decks don't feel as oppressive as they are, because Chakra is just a lot of stats for what it has. Like 370 power gets past almost everything, and then added with the fact that it gets buffed by Moltown, gets buffed by what's that card? Zomatel with its Battle Zone. It gets super high numbers, basically for free because of Undying Blue Flame, and as if being able to kill anything wasn't enough, it can also shuffle your opponent's cards away instead of killing it, which is a little bit too powerful. But the reason why I put it in considerations, because this is a super huge nerf to Blue Flames. So if we really want Blue Flames out of the picture, this is the card to target. But if we do half ban Chakra, I think we can probably buff Blue Flames a little bit. So like potentially unbanning Undying Blue Flame, or re-errataing Laji to not be a once per game ability, would be pretty okay to half ban Chakra if you do those things. Next is Great Serpent of the Falls. I think Serpent is actually a really powerful card, and just its interaction with like play your small Pally Falls creature and then free play this just because, just feels way too powerful. But I feel like if we half ban it, it's a super huge nerf to Polysium. So with this, maybe unban Warpole Jetpack. That could be a consideration. So yeah, but I think Great Serpent is a pretty okay card to half ban because it's just so powerful, mainly for its stats. I think its ability is honestly not the most important thing here. It's just like an extra part to the card. But if it, yeah, just the stats itself is the biggest issue with this card. Next we have Beast of the Conjurers. So this is a very interesting one, but I think Beast of the Conjurers is a very powerful card for being so free in a sense. So if you think about it, Beast of the Conjurers, you're paying 6 stars for 260. That's already pretty good for like stat wise. And then when it's played and when it's killed, you just get 2 free zones. Like that's super powerful, and you're potentially getting like 8 stars worth of value off a 6-star card. So it's like you're getting the stats for free and then you're getting the zones for free. I think Beast of the Conjurers is actually a good card that you can half ban. So yeah, something to like think about. Next is Blaze Elixir. So this card is a very versatile card, mainly used in Gaios combos and also OTK. These decks using Blaze Elixir get super powerful. So yeah, I think Blaze Elixir can go into half ban and it wouldn't be a really big issue. So yeah, not much to say about Blaze Elixir, honestly. It's just really strong. So next is some other cards to discuss. So first of all, Abomination Tomb. So this card is strong, being able to just resurrect one of your creatures, but I think it does have a lot of like downsides, because first of all, paying stars to play it back and not being able to use this like cosplay effect, I think it's pretty okay. And the fact that it attaches and then if you kill the attachment, it kills the creature itself, I think it's pretty okay to have this card be around. I know some people want to actually half ban it because resurrection effects are just super strong, but I think Abomination Tomb is fine. It's just like a fixed Phantom Matter in my opinion. So yeah, I think Abomination Tomb doesn't need anything to be touched about it. So yeah. Offerings to EOS. This was another card that was discussed to potentially be half banned or banned. But I think the card is just a bit too weak. And with the other stuff that I talked about in this video, if we are really gonna go through with half banning Chakra and all that, I think this card becomes pretty fair. So I think this card doesn't have to be half banned. Now the OTK combo of Kellermass, Galactic Gauntlet, and Upside Down Realm, I did discuss in this video about half banning Upside Down Realm, but if we just half ban Gauntlet and Upside Down Realm, it gets a lot harder for OTK to pull off its combo, so that's a potential look into. But I know a lot of players just want to fully ban it, but I just think that there's so many better decks than OTK, and it's a very tier 4 strategy that can win games off chance. And yeah, those are just strategies that work. So yeah, and there are multiple counterplays to the strategy that are already format staples. So this deck is just really hard to win with, so I don't really see an issue with OTK, personally at least. Next we have Zamorzed. So this has the whole like, it's not really a Beast of the Conjurers, it's just a Beast of the Conjurers light, I would say. But it doesn't have as much value as Beast of the Conjurers itself. So I think Zamorzed is a pretty okay card to have around. Though I would say 3 stars for 160 power is pretty strong, but the 20 health is pretty like fair about the card. So yeah, I think this card is okay to be around. So yeah, that's the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on what you think should be half banned, or whether you disagree with certain points in this video. And yeah, with that, happy new year to you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.